Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is at work, and in this video we're talking about this Bark River knife in 3V. I've heard mixed feelings on Bark River. Some people love them, some people hate them. I've heard some people say they love their steel. I've heard some people say they have soft steel. So this is the only example I have at the moment to really to check out. This knife was sent to me by Timbo. Timbo, thanks again, brother. We love you and we appreciate all you do for our channel. And this knife now was supposed to come with me when I did the video with all the fixed blades, including this LT Wright. But I accidentally left it next to my backpack when I picked it up. I didn't see it. It didn't go in it. So I didn't realize till after I was already in the field. So I figured I'd make a short video on it really quick. Now, this 3V, for my example, I did do some cutting with it, but I didn't do any I did some cutting outside with it, but I didn't get it on video. It was on another day where I just brought it with me. But I did get a little bit of cutting with some recycling. So you can see when I'm cutting with it, it cuts very well. This whole blade has a convex blade, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But because of the convex blade, it really passes through materials very nicely. I do have a couple criticisms, and we'll talk about that also in a second. But all in all, this thing cuts like a champ. The geometry is really good, and it's well fit for this knife. I mean, the overall length of this knife is 8.5 inches with a 4-inch blade, so it's a great fixed blade size. The size of the fixed blade just works really good for camping needs, I guess you could say. But hunting, fishing, camping, getting fires prepared, making traps, making shelter, making tools, any type of notching. It's really good. And the spine of it is a 90-degree spine, so it's nice and sharp. You can definitely strike a ferro rod with that. You could even get it up here, but this is probably the better spot with the 90-degree. Now, the micarta handles. This is where my criticism is going to start coming in. I love the black micarta. I think it looks really good. And you can really see if the fibers running in there. I'm pretty sure this is micarta. I don't think it's G10. But either way, my complaint is it's slick. It's very slick, and you can see the glossiness to it. It's very slick. Now, these pins, I cannot feel them at all. Well done. But the swell here does work good. It does have this little spot back there, but because it's so slick, it's hard to use. So like if I'm just squeezing it, even if I squeeze as hard as I can, and I even got my pointer finger locked down right there, I can easily spin it. Now, the only way to prevent it is it helps prevent it if I lock my thumb down on the spine. Then it's a little bit better with that part. Now, also, the texture, whether it was G10 or micarta, either way, if it had a little bit of texture, it would help with the friction with your skin and the material to help keep it in your hand from slipping, from sliding. And even if it's not heavily textured, even just the raw texture of micarta is nice and soft and warm, but just that little bit of friction does help a lot. Another criticism is that it's thin. The handle it's not very, and this is just for my specific hand. I can't, for somebody else, this could be super comfortable, and it is comfortable. It's very comfortable, very useful, great size. It fits my hand lengthwise, but I just feel like, and I'm talking about a little bit here. I'm not talking about much at all. So maybe an 1/8 inch all the way around would improve it for personally me. Now, does that mean I think it's bad? No. I mean, I think the grip is amazing. It's got an amazing grip. But for one, so if you take something thin in your hand and you try to squeeze it, it's going to be harder to hang on to than if I put something thicker in your hand. Something thicker in your hand, you're really going to be able to squeeze it a lot harder. You just have a lot more muscles right here than you do in that squeeze. So it would just improve it a little bit for me. Going back to the blade now, the taper right here. So it basically goes from the spine down to the edge, and it basically goes like this. So let me do it with my fingers. So if this is the spine, it goes like that. It's not just a flat grind, it's a convex. So it kind of rounds to the edge. It kind of goes like this to the edge on the side, which basically goes down to a zero grind, and it just cuts really good. Now the way you're going to want to take care of this edge is mostly with a strop. A strop will do a lot of great for this knife. Now, another thing you can do is if you have, in my opinion, I would want to use a flat plate, but you use a flat ceramic plate, and what it'll do is it'll help keep the edge nice and from deflecting from side to side, because this does get down not crazy thin or anything, but it doesn't have that edge bevel. Now you could just put an edge bevel on there and you could just continue to resharpen it. It's completely up to you how you'd want to take care of it. But you can keep this a zero grind with a ceramic plate, or by just making sure you keep this this edge from getting a bevel. That's why I would use a flat plate. Now a round rod would work, but you would make a micro bevel on there. And I would try to keep away from doing a micro bevel. That's why I think a strop is your best friend with this knife. Very, very sharp. And it, like I said, it cuts very well. The tip is pretty acute. You can definitely drill holes with it without worrying about it breaking. You wouldn't want to do crazy prying, but you could definitely get away with scraping and some light duty prying. I mean, it's not a crazy thick stack or anything, but it is a tough knife, and it is in 3V. And this is the point of 3V. 3V is a very strong steel. So if you're gonna get a steel with that kind of strength, then you can get this type of grind on it, and it'll be exceptional. You know, it'll work really good with this type of grind. Now, a lot of companies out there think you gotta, you know, make your spine the thick, you know, an inch thick, and, you know, 40 thousandths behind the edge, but you really don't. When you get up, that's the point of these steels, is so that you can get the performance out of them, right? And the performance would benefit from thinning it out just a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that a fixed blade should be as thin as a folder. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, you know, you want it to work for your needs. And, you know, cutting is its purpose. So, and the 3V will help with prying and scraping and stuff like that from it, you know, as long as the heat treat is correct. The choil is done great. Great choil there. So if you were going to create a grind here or an edge bevel, you'd have no problem at all. I love that it's made in the USA. I love when I see knives made in the USA. I'm very prideful about my country. At least I try to be. So, there you guys go. This is a great knife. I like it a lot. I think they did so many things right on this knife. And, you know, I only have a couple critiques, but all in all, fantastic knife. This thing would do really good out in the field. I could totally see using this for so many purposes out in the field. I personally would probably rough the handle up a little bit. Okay, so this is what I was about to say. So if I was going to keep this and use this in the field, I would rough the handle up. If I was just going to keep it on the shelf and just keep it nice and keep it as like a collecting piece, then no, I wouldn't. I would leave it as is. But now if I'm going to go and start, you know, bringing it out in the field and actually working with it as a tool, I would take a little bit of sandpaper and I would just rough the surface up a little bit. I would get that texture out so that it wasn't so slick in the hand. I can't imagine being near a river with this. Let's look at the sheath. The sheath is well done. Now, it does hang pretty low, but it could also benefit from getting a ring like the LT Wright knife, or you know, a dangle, whatever these things are called. So you know, this is basically the same way, but once you put this on there, it really makes it work really good. So if you got one of these, you could put it on here and it would work really good. The stitching, oh, either way though, it hangs pretty decent. It doesn't hang really high, because when it sits really high above the belt, it's harder to step over logs and kneel and sit and bend down, and you know, you have a lot more mobility when it dangles. So the stitching is done very, very well. The leather is just incredibly well done. The tension, let's look at it. Very nice and snug. Barely any movement. Side to side, you have a tiny, tiny bit of movement, but that is something you expect. Up and down, nothing at all. So really, really good. Now, personally, when I'm taking this out of the sheath, I try to grip it with my pinky first. Start pulling it out with my pinky, then I already have a full grip, rather than just gripping it like this, then scooting up. I rather just touch the sheath with my hand. So when I go to grab it out, I touch the sheath with my hand and I grip here. But really, what's happening is my pinky's wrapping around. I'm going to wrap my pinky and my ring finger around there and then pull it out. So now when I pull it out, I've already got it in hand ready to work. And then when I put it back, slide it in, use my palm to push it in. And that's how I take it out and put it back. Everybody's different. Great knife, and thank you, Timbo, for letting me check this out. Sorry I didn't get it in that other video. I would have loved to have compared it. I know I didn't talk a lot about bad things in that video of these knives. I probably should have, so try to make up for it a little bit in this video. But all the knives, I always have critiques on. You know, some knives more than others, and some knives maybe not critiques. You know, I just call it as I see it and what works best for me. Sorry I'm hitting the camera, guys. I'm crazy. I love you guys. Peace out.